deliberate movement of 3 highly controversial trials to a day where the media will be looking elsewhere is unbelievable. It's just disgusting.
But that's why they've done it. Just because I disagree with him doesn't mean I want him sent to jail, because I don't want him sent to jail. Because anyone saying that shouldn't be sent to jail. And just because he's on the other side doesn't mean I want him sent to jail, because they sent some of our people to jail.
January 20th next year is an important day because it's the presidential inauguration of Trump, who we supported. Big day. There'll be lots of media coverage whatsoever. And there's 3 cases that are due to come to trial next year. One is the Southport killer trial, which is Axel Rudikabana. The second one is the trial of Ricky Jones, who was a Labour councillor who threatened on camera, or suggested on camera, that the throat should be slit of the so-called far right. Well, the Enough is Enough. The
people demonstrating about the death of 3 little girls.
Yes, the people demonstrating. He suggested their throats should be slit on camera, and was cheered on by members of the Green Party, I think, in that one, if you remember. And then the third one is a guy called Anthony Eason, who's been tried for the attempted murder of Lieutenant Colonel Mark Teaton. So if you don't remember that, he was
stabbed like 40 times. It was only his wife begging him to stop stabbing her husband that made him stop stabbing her husband.
Correct. So these are major cases relating to immigration, relating to so the guy who stabbed Mark Teaton was an African immigrant. I don't know where from. Ricky Jones is obviously a Muslim Labour councillor who's threatening to kill.
I don't think he's Muslim. He looked Caribbean descent or something.
He's a Labour councillor.
He's kicked out now.
Who's basically threatening people who are protesting about the Southport killers, and then the Southport killer himself, who we now suspect or believe to be a Muslim, who killed the 3 girls and injured various other people in Southport. So I referred to Trump's inauguration. Now, something that absolutely, and I really don't know why there's not more fuss about it, when do you think their trials are going to start?
Same day.
Same day.
Same day.
Now,
is that a coincidence?
Well, can anybody possibly believe that is a coincidence?
Well, the Ricky Jones one will be done in a day. So that one will get no attention because they'll all be talking about Trump. So, and again, I don't think Ricky Jones, to a certain extent, should be punished. I don't think what he said was an incitement to violence. What he said sounded like incitement to violence, but I don't think he meant, and there was no intent, I don't think he wanted anyone's throat slit. He will not do any jail time. He'll get a slap on the wrist. And what that will do will highlight again the 2-tier system of our criminal justice system. Just because I disagree with him doesn't mean I want him sent to jail, because I don't want him sent to jail, because anyone saying that shouldn't be sent to jail. And just because he's on the other side doesn't mean I want him sent to jail, because they sent some of our people to jail.
Yeah, I mean, my view on that is the fact he was out on the streets at that point at the same time as the Enough is Enough march was happening. I think that is incitement to violence. If he'd been doing it at home on Twitter, we should slit the throats of anybody who supports Tommy Robinson or whatever, then that, I agree, would be kind of more of just like a general stupid comment. But he was on the streets.
He was on the streets at a demonstration. But again, I don't want, just because I disagree with him, I don't want him punished because I disagree with him. I don't think he should be charged with that. But because we have a 2-tier justice system, his court case will last several hours. That'll be gone. And because it's Trump's inauguration, he'll get no press time, that court case. That's why they're doing it. The other 2 will go on for weeks, if not months, court cases.
Correct.
So the guy who stabbed the army officer, he is going to plead mental, because he obviously is mental, but that's not the answer to this. The answer to this is, what was he doing in the country? Yeah. That's the answer to that one. Because he's an immigrant. What's he doing in the country? He may or may not be mental. I don't care. Deport him. He's not our problem. He never should have been here, but he should be deported. The big one is Axel Ruder
Cabana,
whatever. That's the one that is the most interesting, because this is the case, if some of the rumours are true, that can bring down Keir Starmer. So what did Keir Starmer know and when? Did Keir Starmer know within 48 hours that he was a Muslim convert, if it turns out he is, which we all think he is? Did Keir Starmer have any dealings with his father at any point in the last 20, 30 years? He's denied representing him for his asylum appeal, but that doesn't mean he's not represented him somewhere else, or was it connected to the case? Because I didn't represent him, I was just working on part of the... So they've got... When you listen to what politicians say with their excuses, you've got to be really careful, because when this was put to 10 Downing Street, the answer from the government was, Keir Starmer never represented this guy's father in 2012, whatever the year was. Well, there's wiggle room there, isn't there? Did he represent him in 2013 or 14 or 7?
Yeah.
Did he not represent the father, but represented his uncle and represented his wife? I don't. But you've got to always listen.
Somebody said that he didn't. He didn't. Is that what they've said then? He didn't.
That was the official response from 10 Downing Street.
I didn't know that happened. Oh, really?
They said and the year might be wrong, but they said something like he did not represent his father in 2012. He didn't say. We didn't represent his father.
He didn't say.
Ever.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know. When did that happen?
At the time when all these accusations were coming out. So, this is what PR.
Well, that's like Bill Clinton saying, "I did not have sexual relations with that girl."
How do you define sexual relations? That's whatever I say is sexual relations.
Yeah.
So you've got to be. You've always got to listen to what politicians say.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And the reason why
that is a real giveaway.
The reason why I'm very good at that is because I've dealt with that many politicians.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they don't. They say something what you hear and what they say are two different things.
Yeah. Leon Britton did something similar, didn't he? I remember years ago, long before most of our viewers' time, I'm sure he did, where he made a statement specific, but it was so bleeding obvious what he was saying. So I didn't know about that. That's really interesting. So he said he didn't represent his father in 2012.
Because that was the accusation. We've got papers here that says that he represented him in 2012, whatever the year was. I don't know And so they answered just that, where they should have said, Keir Starmer has never represented this man's father.
Yeah.
The fact they didn't say that makes me go, ooh.
I didn't know that. So I think the point, whilst I know you're talking about the outcomes of these trials or whatever, for me, the fact that those trials are all happening on the day that it just stinks, and the fact that this guy Tanikram is allowed to preside, a lot of people think, oh well, the courts will take care of these issues, and the courts, that justice is blind.
Yeah, I thought that up to about 5 years ago.
Yeah, and I think that's the point I'm trying to make here, Nick, that kind of, I, like you, believed in the legal system and the law.
I thought they were independent, but they're not.
And I don't believe in the law anymore, because this stuff stinks. The treatment of these people by this judge, the deliberate movement of 3 highly controversial trials to a day where the media will be looking elsewhere is unbelievable. It's just disgusting.
But that's why they've done it. So people have said to me online, I've commented about this online, and have said to me, yeah, but Nick, we're not going to forget about these cases. Well, yeah, you're not going to forget about those cases. But the vast majority of people rely on mainstream media for the news.
Yeah.
And the big story for that day in several days will be Trump.
Yeah.
So everything else...
And I'll be interested in Trump.
And everything else can be hidden.
Yeah.
By the overarching blanket of we all talking about Trump.
Yeah.
And he's going to say something crazy at the inauguration. And he's going to talk about more policies. So the whole bandwidth will be Trump.
Yeah.
And maybe several weeks later, one of these cases may be mentioned. But on Twitter, we'll be talking about it. Of course we will.
Well, I think that's the point.
But most people out on Twitter.
Yes. But I think our responsibility here as well is we need to be talking about these things.
And we will.
And follow them. So we'll talk about Trump, but I want to talk about these cases as well.